Hi there, I'm Stuart Smith and welcome to my Short Game Academy. What we're going to do today, we're going to go through chipping off sloping lies. So we've got downhill lie, we'll do an uphill, we've got one with the ball below our feet and one with the ball above our feet. Now you have to understand the rules for chipping on sloping lies to be able to hit the shot successfully. So let's start with the downhill lie. So what we're saying is at address, the ground is sloping towards the green, let's say. And just before the ball, the ground is higher than where the ball is. So we need to make sure that we have a shot that misses this ground and strikes into the ball. So your setup is vital here. What you have to do is you have to get the club square to the target. Then what we're going to do, we're going to get the shaft right angles to the slope. So see how it comes all the way down? And then you can see the width of my stance. What I'm doing is I'm getting the shoulders level with the slope as well. Now for this shot, I can't have it forwards, I need to get it back, otherwise I'm going to lose my balance. So you see again, the shaft point for the middle of me, which is so important, the leading edge is square. So the ball is almost opposite my back foot. What I'm going to do here, I need to just do a swing that actually brushes the ground where the ball is. If it's brushing too far back up top here, I need to move further down. Now, it feels as if you're a long way ahead of the ball. Feels like the ball's miles back, but it's so important to get this set up right. So what we do is I'm in this position here, and by doing so, you see how I've altered the loft. So we've de-lofted the club. This is 56 degrees of loft. What I'm going to do is land it in the fringe, so just knock the ball forwards. It's important I try to chip the ball downwards, because that's where the slope is. It'll land there, and it's going to have quite a bit of energy, and it will just roll its way up to the first flag. So let's have a go. So my core is all the way up here, can you see that? My chest is a long way ahead. I get my hands under my chin because that's important. I've got a wide stance for stability. And what I'm going to do is just knock the ball forwards. I'm not after height, there's nothing in the way. I'm going to chip it downwards and forwards into the fringe and it will release. Let's have a go. So you see I've just chipped it forwards and the ball's released down towards the hole, leaving me a couple of feet away. So the important set-up bit of getting it when the ball's below your feet, so you've got a downhill lie, is that the ball's a long way back and my chest is a long way forwards. And all I'm trying to do is just do a small stroke hitting into the ball, but chipping it downwards. We don't need any elevation. We'll do another shot now where there's a downhill lie, but this time we'll go over this side of the green where we've got to get over a hump, and we'll show you how to play that one as well. Okay, so now we have another downhill lie, but this time we've got a bit of a sway and we've got a steep bank before the ball gets onto the green. So unless we'll run it through short grass, we can't hit downwards. So we have to hit a shot which is going to get some elevation to get the ball over the hump and land on the green softly. So in playing the shot, I still need to get my shoulders the same angle of the slope. Okay, so I'm still tilting down onto my left hand side, but this time I'm going to mess around with my club face. On earlier videos we've talked about the energy of the club and how it can alter by the loft, making the ball run more or less once landed. So with this shot I've got a nice wide stance again, and what I'm going to do is get the club face square to the hole, and as opposed to having it back in my stance, I'm actually going to keep the club pointing at me. So what this does, it opens up the face, so it adds more loft. Now what I have to make sure I do is still swing down the slope. I'm not trying to lift it. I'm hitting down the slope, brushing the grass. This will give me the elevation, but more importantly, this will make the ball land softly and not roll too far. Okay, so everything's forward. I've got the shaft pointed at the middle of me. My feet are open in relation to the hole, the ball's target line, but in relation to the shaft, I'm square, which is the important bit. So let's have a go. Back, through. So I hit the shot. Goes up in the air, it's landed very softly, and we've managed to get it next to the hole. So even on a downhill lie, as long as we get the angles right with the club, we can lift the ball up, but I'm still trying to swing and hit downwards. Okay, let's move on to an uphill lie now. Okay, so now we've moved round and we've got an uphill lie. So with the downhill lie, we talked about getting our shoulders and our body at right angles to the slope and swinging with the slope. You can do the same on an uphill lie. There is another way, which I'll show you as well. So with the uphill lie, I want to get my body at right angles to the slope. So therefore, my right shoulder's further down, the left one's up. My weight will be favouring the back leg. The again, I'll have a nice wide stance. Now the shaft's coming up to the middle of my belly button. What I'm going to do, I'm going to swing with the slope again. So I'm not looking to strike down and into the ball, I'm going to swing with the slope. So in theory, what we've done, we've opened the face because everything's leaning back. It will go higher than perhaps normal. It will land softer than normal. So let's have a go. So I'm in this position here. I'll get a nice wide stance. I now allow, see how I rock back? So I rock back, so I feel like my body's at right angles to the slope. And let's have a go, swinging with the slope. So it's up in the air, and you can see that's landed and stopped very, very quickly. So if you've got a nice lie, you can swing with the slope. The other alternative is this. Unlike the downhill lie, you have a second option here. This time, I'm going to get my feet an awful lot closer together, and I'm going to get my shoulders level to me normally, to a normal lie, as opposed to swinging with the slope. And this time, I'm literally just going to strike into the ball. Now, I'm not trying to make my club stop in the ground, but I know it probably will do. So this is going to fly a little bit lower, and it'll have a bit more energy on the ball once it lands. The ball I've moved, as you can see, further back in my stance, but the important thing is a very narrow stance here, and I'm just going to maintain pressure on my left leg, so it's totally different to this one, and I'm striking into the ball. So let's have a go here. So see, I get into position, I'm much closer, I can strike into the ball, so it flies an awful lot lower, and once it's landed, it's rolled up towards the hole. Now, I'm sure you can see they're both about 1.5 feet from the hole, so whichever one you choose to play, you should get a good result. The one thing I will say, to go with the slope, you normally will need a good lie. So if you've got a bad lie, you're better off doing the one where we strike into the ball. Okay, let's have a go with the ball below our feet now and see how we played that shot. Right, so here we are, and we've got the ball below our feet. Now this one doesn't change too much from a normal chip from how I play it, but the one thing I will do is I will hold the club higher up top. I'm all the way up the top of the grip. That's because the ball's below my feet. And at address, I get very close to the ball, and the weight's a bit more on my toes. This helps me to get leaning forwards, encouraging a better strike. The bad one here will be one where the weight's too far back and we top the ball. So I've got to make sure I get myself into a position to get the chances of hitting the poor shot as small as possible. I want to get in there and make sure I know I can strike it. So I'd have the ball middle to forwards on this shot. You can see I've got my weight on my toes again, my core's ahead, so I've got my chest ahead of the ball, and I am aware that it's below my feet. Normally I'd perhaps be back here and I'd feel that I can't strike the ball. So when it's below your feet, just get your chest a bit more further forwards. Let's hit a little chip and see what happens. So you see I've just chipped it into the green and just let it roll down towards the hole. Okay, but we made sure we got the good strike because I was in the right position first of all. Okay, so here we are with the last of our sloping lines. We've got the ball above our feet. And again, whenever you do the sloping lines, they tend to be the opposite of the opposite slope. So the hitting up the slope was opposite to hitting down. So what we did on the ball below our feet should be opposite to what we do with the balls above our feet. So distance from the ball, we were very close to it when the ball's below our feet, and because it's above our feet, you can see I'm quite a bit further away. When I had the ball below, I was this close. I can't get to the shot at that point. I want the club to try to sit quite squarely on the ground, so I'm stood further back. I'm also further down the grip for this. As the ball lifts up, it comes nearer towards me. The risk of the shot here is catching the ground. That's the bit I'm trying to make sure doesn't happen. So I'm standing quite a bit further away. I move the ball slightly further back in my stance for this, so I'm trying to encourage a clean strike. If it's too far forwards, I feel there's a chance of me catching the ground, and we don't want to worry about that when I'm going to hit the shot. So I'm further away. The weight's fairly even, okay, but where it was on the toes last time, it's probably now going to be slightly towards the heels a little bit. As I said, my chest is ahead, and I'm going to hit the shot. This will come out a bit faster, and will probably release a bit more than normal as well. So I'm leaning on the left. You can see, as I said, I've got the distance. Let's hit the shot. We've hit it, and as you can see, it just rolls a bit more, runs its way down towards the hole. Okay, so let's summarise what we've just talked about. The downhill lie we were talking about getting our shoulders level with the slope. The ball was back in my stance, my feet were wide, and I'm swinging down the slope. The ball's going to hit downwards. If we have to get some elevation on it, you can do by laying the club back. You're still got to kick forwards, we can't lean back. So the key thing is to make sure your shoulders are level with the slope. Okay, for the uphill lie, we had the choice of getting shoulders level with the slope, swinging it, the ball's going to go high and land softer, or we can have our feet very close together and strike into the ball. That means the club will get stuck in the ground, but that was your other option. Ball below our feet, so when it was below, we stand an awful lot closer to the ball. With weights a bit more on our toes, I'm higher up the grip. Now you need to be wary of the fact you could miss the ball, so you can top the ball. And when we have the ball above our feet, so we're swinging across the slope, I'm further away. The shaft is a bit more flatter because the ball's up in the air, and I'm further down the grip. I tend to have myself forwards, the ball a bit further back, and the worry here is the fact we're going to hit the ground. So as I said before, if you can work out what the worry is, and it's normally the piece of ground in front of the ball, okay, if you work out what that is and the best way to stand to it or play the shot to miss that, you've got a very good chance of playing it successfully. Have fun.